If you go to most of the direct platforms and look at the behavior of these customers, what they do is sort funds basis last 1 year, 2 year returns, look at the highest performing fund and invest without realizing that वो return तो कोई और ले गया.
So what exactly are you building at ZFunds?
Imagine the best DIY direct mutual funds platform and then take an offering of an expert who A, understands your current financial status, aligns with your life goals, and then gives you long-term support.
When I meet people, I have seen people taking life decisions on SIPs. If you don't intend to work with your customers for the next 15-20 years, do not become an MFD.
No MFD platform so far has worked on customer ownership, like the end investor ownership. They've all worked by considering the mutual fund distributor as their customer. Manish is in touch with about 1,000 distributors on WhatsApp. Directly.
Over the next 5 years, we expect to strengthen personal balance sheets of 50 lakh households in the country.
Hi.
Welcome to the Day One podcast by Elevation Capital, where we chronicle the stories and journeys of founders we partner with. I'm Kshitij from Elevation's FinTech team, and today we have Manish and Vidhi, co-founders of ZFunds. ZFunds is addressing a critical gap in the mutual fund industry by serving distributors and empowering them with the right tools, technology, and training. They have shown remarkable growth so far, serving 60,000 customers via 10,000 micro entrepreneurs who are also the mutual fund distributors. And they have also scaled their AUM to more than 1,000 crores. We are excited to lead their seed round. I actually met Vidhi and Manish back in 2019 and have been lucky to observe their journey till today, and glad to be on this side where we are shooting this podcast together. Manish comes with extensive wealth management experience, having had leadership roles across multiple companies including Policybazaar, IFL Wealth, Citibank, as well as ASK Wealth. And Vidhi brings in strong product and technology credentials, having led product at Paisabazaar and Health Card previously. Welcome to Day One podcast, Manish and Vidhi.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, let's start with your origin story. So what's the core insight that led you to start ZFunds?
You know, Kshitij, while we were at Paisabazaar, we saw two problems. One was at the supply side and one on the demand side. On the demand side, we'd seen a lot of customers coming to our platform doing 500,000 rupees SIP and checkout. We used to run a large call center there, and I always wanted to be close to customers. I used to speak to about 5-7 customers every week myself. In those interactions, I figured out that these are customers who would invest 1 to 5 lakh rupees with their local insurance agents, with their insurance products, right, or with their branch bank managers in their bank FDs. While when it comes to mutual funds, they would do only 500,000 rupees. Clearly, we were not able to offer something that their insurance agent or a branch manager was offering, which was physicality and trust. To get a significant portion of their savings, physicality and trust becomes very, very important. When we started working on it, we saw another problem on the supply side. Out of 750 districts in the country, all mutual funds put together are present only in about 200 districts, which essentially means that in a smaller district, even if a customer wants to invest a significant part of his savings in mutual funds, he can't. Clearly, distribution was also broken. Me and Vidhi, we used to work together that time, and we discussed this. Clearly, the opportunity was very exciting to crack. And that's how ZFund started.
Nice. And why regular in the age of direct, especially when many of these direct platforms have scaled up so much? How do you think about that? And what's the nature of the end customer that you're serving?
The genesis of DIY direct platforms is that they will offer a cheaper product which is better for the customers in ultimate investment outcome. Basically, it is more aligned to customers' ultimate investment outcome. But unfortunately, that's not how it has played out. If you go to most of the direct platforms and look at the behavior of these customers, what they do is, and I used to run one such platform, they will go to the platform, sort funds basis last 1 year, 2 year returns, look at the highest performing fund and invest without realizing that वो return तो कोई और ले गया. If you're looking at past returns, वो return कोई और ले गया.
I've also done this, I'm guessing.
So, what happens is these guys have actually invested in extremely niche strategies. Like in 2024, they've invested in PSU, defense, infrastructure. In 21-22, they had invested in IT, pharma. Sometime in 2018, 2019, they had even invested in a Brazil fund. These are the highest selling funds in DIY direct platforms. Right. I am completely with them when it comes to alignment with the customer's ultimate, investment outcome. But I don't think this is how it should be done. Right. I think it should be done through hand-holding the customer through various market cycles. It should be done through personalized advice, and that is what a distributor or an advisor does.
Right. Makes sense. And both of you come from extensive experience in fintech and wealth management. How has your background and experiences shaped your journey in building ZFunds?
We do have experience in the wealth management side, and how that has helped is identifying this critical gap, and second is getting basic understanding of how to build a robust tech platform. But what we were building was much more than that. And this experience was not enough. Luckily, we realized it very early. In the first 2-3 months, we realized that isse nahi hoga. So we went out in the market, okay, like marketing interns. We actually went out in the market talking to distributors, talking to AMCs. I remember before COVID in late 2019 and 2020, between me and Vidhi, we spent about 90 days in Varanasi. Meeting distributors, meeting AMCs, understanding the relationship between the AMC and the distributor, and the relationship between the distributor and the end consumer. The insights that we got there in those 90 days are still with us, and the products, the features that we built with those insights are still, till date, the most loved features that we have.
Yeah, just for example, right? Super simple things. If a customer has invested something, they would like to know the status. So the customer would ask the distributor. The distributor would then go and ask the AMC. The AMC would be like, okay, we will check and get back. Then they would check. They would tell the distributor. He would then relay this information back to the customer. Like, these are like not even hard tech problems to solve, right? But we have examples of distributors who used to carry stacks of like 40 application forms and KYC forms and take it to their nearest city, because that's how the traditional MFD businesses were working. So just to, actually get down there, speak to people, like, what can we do? How can we solve this problem? And like, so a lot of those features came up, I think, from there.
Wow. Very interesting. But this is a good time to sort of go deeper into your product strategy, right? Yeah. So what exactly are you building at ZFunds?
Right. Imagine the best DIY direct mutual funds platform, and then take an offering of an expert who understands your current financial status, aligns with your life goals, and then gives you long-term support. That's what we're building through our product, right? I think, like, philosophically, if you say, our product has like 2 core philosophies that we follow. It has to be sahi, meaning it has to be right for the end customer. It has to be asan. It has to be easy for the customer or the distributor to use. I think that's the core of what we build.
Makes sense. So now looking at it from a mutual fund distributor or an MFD perspective, why would they choose to work with ZFunds versus going direct or any other platform in the market?
I firmly believe that mutual fund distribution or financial advisory is no more a single person's job, is no more a one man's job. It needs specialized capabilities in at least four things. Research and product to give the best solution to the customer, tech to ensure seamless execution, regulatory compliance to ensure reliability and trust, and finally, long term support to these customers. If you are so in any one of these, you will not be able to acquire new customers or get new customers, or even if you get new customers, uh, you will not be able to retain those customers. Today's customers have changed, uh, you know due to access to information. 15-20 years back it was very very different. Today's customers have changed. They have access to information. They need a very very specialized skill set which combines all of these four, from a distributor or financial advisor's perspective. And hence it makes sense for the distributor or the advisor to get associated with a platform and offer this to the customer, because building it yourself is expensive, and a lot of times you do not even have the capability to do it.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And another interesting aspect about ZFunds is your approach towards community as well as content. So could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
That's that's very interesting actually. Look, when we started, we were bootstrapped. We didn't have the money to pay to influencers.
Right.
We thought, why not become your own influencers? To build a long-term customer or a distributor acquisition channel for any business, we thought YouTube would work the best. When we actually sat down and started working on it, we figured out a problem here also. Most of the content are in mutual fund space or investment, particularly in mutual fund space, it revolves around two things: jargons and ratios, which no one understands. You have to build content that a common man understands. And what we wanted to do, what we started to do was just that. We started to make videos, 4-5 minute videos in simple Hindi explaining funds, concepts, etc. And that just took off. Even today, and this has made us the most capital efficient model in the industry.
So like today, I think we have about 2 lakh subscribers, and we get about 10 lakh views in a month with zero marketing money spent. All with the focus of customer. What does the customer need? What do they want to know more about? So that's how we've sort of built this entire channel.
It makes a lot of sense, and I think that's one of the key strengths you guys have really built and lays a very strong foundation to the overall business.
We were forced into it.
Yeah, like how constraints can really make you
Yeah,
creative.
absolutely.
Awesome. And for any sort of MFD or like mutual fund distributor listening to this, or someone who's thinking about pursuing this as a career, who can become an MFD today? And what is the earning potential like? How much can they earn?
I'll start with the earning potential. The biggest MFD in India is about 8,000 crores in size. My sense is he would be earning anywhere between 40 to 60 crores a year. Okay, that's like a large listed company, publicly listed company. So basically, there is absolutely no limit in how much you can earn. And answering your first question, who can become an MFD? Anyone who clears NISM 5A exam and has 3,500 rupees to spare can become an MFD today. But my advice there is something very, very different. If you don't intend to work with your customers for the next 15-20 years, do not become an MFD. This business has no shortcuts. You have to spend those 10, 15, 20 years. Look, you have to understand that customer, a serious customer, for his life goals is saving for 10, 15, 20 years. You have to handhold him during this journey. If you cannot, you should not get into this business. Uh, some of the most promising distributors that we have seen uh, come from personal finance ecosystem. They are either chartered accountants, insurance agents, etc. In fact, some of the newer MFDs that we see, a very interesting trend that they come from. They are software developers, working with tech companies, have acute interest in finance, and they have started doing this as part time. In fact, about 2 months back, we had a very, very interesting profile who joined us as an MFD. We helped her clear NSM and get the ARN. Uh, Ex CFO of an MNC.
Wow, interesting. Can you share few more stories like that that bring the persona of these MFTs alive?
Touching on this point of people who were into full time jobs and started doing mutual fund distribution part time. Uh, what we have seen in the last 3 months is that two distributors have quit their jobs to pursue mutual fund distribution full time.
Very interesting.
They both started mutual fund distribution with us. Today, both are earning above 1.5 lakhs a month and they have quit their jobs. 3 more distributors are in touch with me and planning to quit their jobs by March.
Actually, we see a very wide range of personas. Like, so to can't really put it down like that. But on one side, we have what Manish has just mentioned, right? And on one side, we have MFD distributors who's a sarpanch of his gaon, and he actually got in touch with us, and he actually got in touch with us when we launched daily SIP. So he thought that this 100 rupees daily SIP is an ideal ticket size for the constituents of his of his village. So after his panchayat meetings, he would actually talk a little bit more about mutual funds and get people to start their investments. Actually grew his business quite sustainably, like built a good business out of that.
Oh, very interesting. Great to hear such anecdotes and the kind of people you run into. Um, Shifting gears a bit, like, would love to understand a little bit more on the scale of the opportunity on the mutual fund distribution business, right? So, what trends are you seeing here and what excites you about this space?
The mutual fund industry is expected to grow to about 150 to 200 lakh crores from currently about 70 lakh crores. Number of investors will grow from about 5 crores to 10 crores, and all of this will happen by 2030. Uh, you know, uh, this will happen with a lot of new investors coming into the industry and existing investors, putting more money or increasing their wallet share with mutual funds as they become more and more comfortable with the product. But this is honestly what everyone would know. Okay, you can read it. I will share something that I have seen firsthand in my interactions with people. Mutual funds have become core part of personal portfolios of people. It's become the core. When I meet people, I have seen people taking life decisions, on SIPs. Okay, I have seen people planning their expenses around SIPs. कि SIP amount कम नहीं हो. I have taken interviews of candidates and not one who've come and told me that I want to switch jobs because खर्चे बढ़ गए हैं और मैं SIP continue नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. So it's no more Roti, Kapda or Makaan. It's Roti, Kapda, Makaan or SIP.
That's a good one. And what's different about the market timing now? Why haven't any previous attempts to digitize the MFD workflow succeeded?
So what we see is that no MFD platform so far has worked on customer ownership, like the end investor ownership. they've all worked by considering the mutual fund distributor as their customer. Without taking names of the mutual fund distribution platforms, there are apps that don't allow customers to redeem their money or to cancel their SIPs. At the end of the day, पैसा तो investor का है. To restrict him because you think that's the better thing for the distributor, that's where the current status is. We believe like a sustainable, good business can only be built if you have the end customer as the focal point. I think in terms of technology, we've seen that the customers have advanced a lot faster than the distributors, and now they want to catch up with the customers.
And how did you validate the traditional MFDs, their willingness to adopt technology before you started building?
Right. I know how it seems on the surface, right? We feel that traditional mutual fund distributors will have some sort of friction before they adopt technology or they start using an app. We've actually seen completely the opposite thing. I think we have to push very low on feature adoption. As long as it is something that the distributor can use to grow his business, they use it very, very willingly. I think the only filter we keep while prioritizing our tasks is that will this actually help in them growing their business, and is it a long-term thing for them? I think also it's very helpful that Manish is in touch with about 1,000 distributors on WhatsApp. Directly. So the good, the bad, the ugly on our app, if something is working, not working, within 1 hour, I think he gets a message saying that this is happening. And we are very responsive to feedback. So we take it up very, very quickly.
That's the only way you can build something like this.
Right.
But Kshitij, I always wanted to ask you this, and today is the right platform, I think. What got you guys excited? ZFunds is such a boring business. It's I call it a very, very non-sexy business. What got you guys excited about us, and why did you invest? I would like to know from you.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't call it a boring business because many factors drove us to be excited to come and invest. And obviously, the market opportunity is growing significantly, as you were saying, right? And while a lot of this might be direct, we believe that a large portion of this will continue to be intermediary led. And there we saw a white space to say that there is an opportunity to build for a new age sort of digital distributor of sorts, equip them with the right tools and technology and help them serve their end customers. Second, and beyond the market opportunity, we also really liked the product that you had built out. So through multiple conversations that we had through your partners, what stood out for us was the quality of your product as well as the support that your team was providing to them. Especially the ease of onboarding that the distributors could have for their end customers really stood out. As well as many of the distributors also said that they speak to their relationship managers more than their own family. So the quality of support really, really came out for us. Second, what we really liked was the content and community platform that you've built out, which really sets an standard in the industry, right? Because growing to almost 2 lakh subscribers, that drives so much top of funnel leads for you almost in terms of distributors who come in wanting to discuss more of the content and the way to sort of sell these mutual funds with you. That really translates into good quality economics with very low CACs that you have and very high share of organic acquisition. So that was another thing that really stood out for us, right? Third is also the way we've executed so far, like since 2019, as you said, with minimal capital, being bootstrapped initially and then raising a small round and still scaling to 1,000 crores with very healthy unit economics. That's a feat that I haven't seen anyone else do, which again was a spike for us when we evaluated you guys, right? And fourth is the complementary skill sets both of you brought to the table. So Vidhi with your strong product and tech chops, as well as Manish with your extensive wealth background and expertise. Both of that we feel really combined together well to build a solid foundation for this business. So across these 3-4 parameters and spending time with both of you really drove our conviction to invest in ZFunds. Oh, pretty cool. I think just shifting gears a bit, would love to go into a little bit of team and culture at ZFunds. So, how you guys approached building your team and culture at the company?
The initial team were people who had worked with me in the past. They'd worked with me for about 8-10 years. All of them are still with us. Then we moved on to hiring generalists from the market. Uh, we trained them, made them super good in what they were doing. These are people with very, very strong work ethics. I also tell them that if you spend 2 years with me, any competition, anyone in the competition will hire you, but you will come back to us in 6 months' time. And हमारे साथ ये हुआ है. 2 people in the last 6 months have gone to competition, come back in 3 months कि सर मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है. The only reason people stay with us, senior people who have worked with me for 8-10 years, and even the newer guys who've spent reasonable time with us, they want to come back to us or they want to be here is maza aa raha hai. What we do, there is a clear single-minded focus in what we do, and it's a fun place to work.
Interesting. So, very mission driven as well as fun.
Absolutely.
Great. And what are few frameworks or hiring principles that have served you well so far?
What we value in people is drive. To gauge that, we try to understand if you have worked hard ever in your life to achieve something. It could be sports, it could be academics, it could be your last assignment. And sometimes I say, when we discuss, I say it could even be relationships, right? If you've done anything like that, we will figure out a role for you.
Got it. Oh, very exciting for people of that mindset to come and join you then.
Yeah.
Actually, if you see, we've had people who have worked in the organization for 2 years or 3-4 years, and now they're leading their teams.
Very interesting. Yeah. So that path exists, accelerated path exists for anyone who has that drive.
For sure.
Actually, these are guys who had joined us. These were their first jobs.
Yeah.
These were their first jobs and they are leading teams.
It's good to see you're also picking out the right talent because of this framework as well as
You were
giving
just
them the
lucky.
right path. Fair enough. And another interesting point, another point I want to touch upon is just coming from large organizations like IFL, Policy Bazaar, Paisa Bazaar. How has your mindset shifted, especially when you come into startup execution?
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, I used to think that, I've worked in startups. So I'm super ready, I've worked and now I'm ready to start something of my own. What you don't realize is that every small thing, like office में चाय कहाँ से आएगी, तो किसी के laptop में Windows नहीं चल रहा है, is all your problem. There is no department for anything, right? So that was a bit of a mind shift change for me, I think. Yeah.
Yes, and for me, I had always worked in large organizations where structures were very evolved. Working in a very flat structure was honestly a bit of learning curve for me. But yeah, I think we do it well now.
I'm sure you've had conflicts over the last few years. What is a framework or a way that you've handled conflict so far? Just wanting to go a little deeper on both of you as co-founders. Vidhi, would love to understand how do you divide responsibilities between the two of you and how has that evolved since inception?
I think when you start off, it's more or less whatever you can get your hands on. There is no clear segregation of work. So whatever we were getting our hands on, we were doing and figuring it out. Now I think about 70% of our work is fairly well defined. We have clear responsibilities. Still about 30% of the work is such that, we take on whatever we get. So we discuss and we take on the work. But one thing is very clear, whatever we do, we take full ownership of it. So if I've picked up something, I will own it. And if Manish has picked up something, then he will own it.
Got it. And working together for the last more than 5 years now, sure you guys have had some conflicts. So what is the framework to resolve conflicts between co-founders?
Look, we had worked together for 3 years before we started ZFunds. In those 3 years, we had understood each other's strengths and each other's working styles. But when you start a company, you bring a lot of your passion on the table, and some conflicts are bound to happen. What we do is that whenever we are in office, we kind of try and have lunch together. That is the time we speak our minds, and those 20-30 minutes help us choose a path.
Very interesting. Yeah. Just unstructured time to speak freely.
Absolutely, that is the time we are actually not thinking about work, not thinking about our passion. So yeah, that helps us.
And allows you to go back to the basics in terms of why you worked with each other in the first place.
I
Absolutely.
think more logic prevails, I feel, when you're in a calmer situation. I mean, it's away from whatever work you were doing. It's like a casual setting, right? Like you're just discussing what's on your mind. So I feel like more logic prevails there.
Makes sense. And you guys just closed your seed round. Uh, how has your fundraising journey been like, and what advice would you have for new founders looking to raise their venture rounds?
We've had a very interesting fundraising journey. We had a term sheet when we started, and then COVID happened. Uh, what we did that time, there were two things that we did that time. One, uh, pooled in some money from our own accounts and some friends and family. Second, we decided to make this business an extremely low cost or capital efficient business. Talking about this round, I think it was fairly easy. We had spoken to two people, and we had an okay from both. We chose Elevation because like you mentioned, we've been in touch for the last 4 years. I think we understand each other very well, and one very very important factor was that whether our investors understand our business or not, and that we could really see in our early interactions during this round, and that helped us decide.
Yeah. I think, coming to your second part, which is like advice to founders who are thinking about raising funds in their early stage. Um, I think you have to understand that your company has to be valuable for the investors to invest in. So you need to know your customers better than anyone else in the market. Then you need to use that knowledge and have some sort of proof in numbers. If you are at an early stage, like these are the only two things you need to do. I feel like that's my two bits.
Fair enough. So, Manish, beyond capital, what were you looking for in your early investors, and what did you evaluate in your potential partners?
What we did was very simple. We had one understanding that wealth management, and particularly this kind of wealth management business, cannot be built over 5 years. It is built over 10, 15, 20 years, because we need to understand that that is the cycle that your customer is playing. You can't have a shorter cycle. As a business, your cycle cannot be shorter than the customer's cycle. What we saw in Elevation was very very clear that you guys are long-term partners, uh, and that helped us. And second, we spoke to a few people. Two of them are very very successful. Two of the most successful startup founders in the country today, and I can tell you verbatim. The answer was, they are good people. Don't even think twice.
So glad to hear that, and glad that we made it work from both ends.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. And looking forward, Manish, what is the next decade-long vision for ZFunds?
We've kind of worked with a you know 3 to 5 year plan always. Uh, I don't know. I'm not a very big fan of a 10-year plan. It doesn't give me that comfort. 3 to 5 year plans are actually something that you can put it in action.
Fair enough.
And we work with 3 to 5 year plans. Over the next 5 years, we expect to strengthen personal balance sheets of 50 lakh households in the country. This will happen by empowering 5 lakh distributors in about 98% of the pin codes in the country.
Very impressive. Very impressive. That also creates like a mega compounding company of sorts with more distributors, more customers, more
Absolutely.
SIPs, and
Absolutely. It's this, if this business has two operating leverages inbuilt. One, there's a market impact on your AUM, and second is from a customer's side, as customers' income goes up, he starts contributing larger portion of that income or larger portion of that savings to mutual funds or such instruments. So two very, very important operating leverages are inbuilt in this business.
no, makes a lot of sense. Which is also why we are also excited about this business and investing in it. And great, you guys have been very resilient in your journey so far. Creative even in when you're capital constrained. Uh, so, given all this and your journey so far, what are few learnings you would like to share with early stage founders? Any closing thoughts?
I think I will share two of my learnings, and something that I have done. You don't only learn from your mistakes, you learn from things that you have done well also. That will give you a deeper insight about your customers, and then you double down there. Okay, that will really help you grow your business at a very low cost, because these are things that you're doing well. Customers are liking it. Why not double down there? When we start a new business, we put a lot of effort, a lot of our time in building the best product, in building the right product. That's a very, very good thing to do, and we should all do that. But side by side, we should start working on a plan कि हमारे पास customers free में कैसे आएंगे. I think that's a very, very important thing. And like, how Paul Graham puts it, the cheaper your business is to run, the harder it is to kill.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I think from my side, you've seen that compass that Jack Sparrow has in Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
It always points to the thing that he wants the most. That's who you have to be for your company. At any given point of time, all of your effort, all of your thought has to be centered around what your company needs the most. So I feel like that's what you need to do.
No, awesome. Thank you so much, Vidhi and Manish, for sharing your journey so candidly. And for our listeners, if you're building in fintech and financial services, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And thanks for tuning in to Day One.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.